So come make some coffee with me as we discuss Dancing with the Devil, that TikTok documentary on Netflix. First off, I think it makes absolutely no sense that 3+ women have come forward with their stories regarding sexual assault, and it doesn't seem anything has been done. So I don't understand that part of it. Also, speaking from my own personal experience with a cult-like group when I was younger, it is not your fault. These people know exactly who to go after and what they're looking for. People are vulnerable and they're looking for certain things, but it's not your fault, and I hope that you can heal. So we start off this series by hearing about the Wilkins sisters, Miranda and Melanie. And then throughout other episodes, we found out that this has been happening for a long time. We hear stories about former members, other dancers who were part of this TikTok cult, where basically the pastor was taking care of all the management side of things, the admin side, to get their brand deals done and all of these things. They were getting paid, but then they had to repay this 7M management fees plus like 30 to 50% of their money to go to the church as well. We also learn about another member who tried to sue the pastor prior, Lydia Chung, I think her name was. And as we were reading decision, because she lost, I thought it was interesting that one of the reasons that the judge wrote was because she wasn't living on church property, from my understanding anyways. So I think that the two sisters, Priscilla and Melanie Lee, may have a chance when they go to court, because specifically Priscilla, where she was living with them. But I'm really curious to see what the decision will be when it goes to court. They also explained that, I don't know if there's fraud in there where somebody was making out checks to all of these entities, but really it was just going to one person. And then on top of that, you also had the sexual assaults as well. It really just broke my heart watching this. So I got curious to see what would happen if this was being trialed in Canada and what potential charges would apply. Now, I'm just a law student. I don't know what I'm talking about yet. So this is not any sort of legal advice or anything like that. It's just my thoughts and my observations. So I did look at our criminal code here, and I did find a few articles that I think would be relevant. Trafficking in persons, which says that every person who recruits, transports, transfers, receives, holds, conceals, or harbors a person, or exercises control, direction, or influence over the movements of a person for the purpose of exploiting them or facilitating their exploitation is guilty of an indictable offense and liable for jail. In Canada, there's also some presumptions associated with certain charges, which just means that the burden of proof switches to the accused. So in this instance, for trafficking in persons, there is a presumption that basically says if the person who is not exploited lives with a person who is exploited or is usually in the company of that person, in the absence of evidence to the contrary, that means that it's proof that that person exercises control, direction, or influence over the movement of that person, okay? So that means that the accused would need to provide evidence and proof that they don't control or exploit the person in question. Another charge that I think could be relevant here is material benefit on trafficking, which says that, basically every person who receives a financial or other material benefit, knowing that it's obtained or derived directly or indirectly from the commission of an offense under the human trafficking, could be found guilty. And some of the factors that can be looked at to determine if there is exploitation is if there's the accused use or threaten to use force or another form of coercion, use deception, or abuse a position of trust, power, or authority. Now, in the case of Dancing with the Devil, I think it could be argued that the pastor and also the owner of this 7M business held a position of power or authority in the situation. So if this was happening in Canada, this is what I think could be argued by the Crown prosecutor to try to put this pastor in jail. Let me know what you think.